Hey, welcome to Digging into the Bible. My name is Jim Barnard. This is a production of Tiller Coaching. All right, well, it's day 61. We have 20 more days of this study into Matthew, and there's so much good stuff coming up, but we're making really good progress. Today we are looking at a section that very much feels like the Beatitudes, but kind of in reverse. I lovingly consider them the Woeattitudes. I think that's trademarked to me. I think I made it up, so feel free to use it. So that'll be today and tomorrow. I don't want to have as long of a video as yesterday. Holy cow. Thanks for hanging in there. Let's go ahead and dig in at Matthew chapter 23, starting at verse 1. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat, so do and observe whatever they tell you. But not the works that they do, for they preach, but they do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to move them with their finger. They do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their phylacteries broad and their fringes long. And they love the place of honor at feasts and the best seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the marketplaces, and being called rabbi by others. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And call no man your father on earth, for you have one Father who is in heaven. Neither be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Christ. The greatest among you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. For you neither enter yourselves, nor allow those who would enter to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you travel across sea and land to make a single proselyte. And when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if anyone swears by the temple, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools, for which is greater, the gold or the temple that has made the gold sacred? And you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gift that is on the altar, he is bound by his oath. You blind men, for which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? So whoever swears by the altar swears by it and everything on it. And whoever swears by the temple swears by it and by him who dwells in it. And whoever swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who sits upon it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others. You blind guides, straining out a gnat and swallowing a camel. All right, so I'm going to answer your question. What is a phylactery? It's a great question. It is a garment worn by Jewish men that it's like a leather kind of box kind of thing that they wear, that they put Hebrew text on there. And this phylactery and the fringes, these are reminders and symbols of following the Hebrew law. And while that's great, Jesus is calling out the show of it, kind of saying that you are looking at the part, but you are not acting the part, and that's a real shame. One of the things that Jesus points out there is that you're not to be called rabbi, and man, that's actually something I really take personally. So I am a pastor, right? I went to school for it. I've been ordained. I fulfill that role, but I actually loathe being called Pastor Jim. I don't want to throw shade at anyone that likes to be called pastor, whatever. There's really nothing wrong with it. It just makes me uncomfortable because it feels like it's setting me up for, I don't know, like a giant fall, because I'm just a dude. I'm just someone who's trying to figure it out the same as anyone else. And frankly, I don't have anything figured out. Like I really am trying to make my way the same way as anyone else. And I actually also believe in the priesthood of all believers, that if you have accepted Christ and you have the Holy Spirit, you yourself are called to be a pastor. Like we're all called to go and make disciples. And so, I don't know, I just don't think of myself any loftier than anyone else. So, that's my viewpoint on it. Once again, no shade on anyone else on that. But this whole section, this part of the Woeattitudes, makes me think of a song by the lead singer of Switchfoot. His name's John Foreman, and he wrote this song called Instead of a Show that really calls out the show that it feels like Jesus is calling out, that I think he loathes it, he hates it. It's not a gift to him. It's like really actually offensive. And so I'm going to read just a few lyrics here. I hate all your show and pretense, the hypocrisy of your praise, the hypocrisy of your festivals. I hate all your show. Away with your noisy worship, away with your noisy hymns. I stomp on my ears when you're singing them. I hate all your show. Instead, let there be a flood of justice, an endless procession of righteous living. Instead, let there be a flood of justice instead of a show. And that song is so powerful because it's just sung from the viewpoint of God, saying like, okay, you are offering this as truly an offering to me, but I hate it. I just see it as a show. I want something more. I want something different. And that has been a challenging thought to me, and I hope that it's a challenging thought to you. I hope you hear my heart here. I'm not trying to accuse anyone of like just doing it wrong, because we gather and we do these things that are really beneficial. But sometimes it's like, well, where do these gatherings end up teetering into the spot of being a show that just really isn't a great offering that is pleasing to the Lord? I don't know. It's hard to know, but it's a challenging thought, and so I hope you view that challenge the same way I do. All right, so tomorrow we continue on with the Woeattitudes, so I look forward to seeing you then.